Kyoshokusoko Guyver, or known by these two English translated titles, Guyver the Bio-Boosted Armor, or Bio-Booster Armor Guyver, is a manga series that was first published through Japanese publisher Fukamachi Sho's monthly manga serialization magazine, Monthly Shonen Captain, until 1997, when Japanese publisher Kadokawa Shoten picked up the publishing rights and republished it under their banner. Since then, it has received 2 OVAs, or original video animations, a 26-episode TV anime series, and 2 live-action tokusatsu-style American film adaptations, and it gained a niche cult following in the West. For any merchandise involving Guyver, the one company that comes to mind is Max Factor. When it comes to Bio-Booster Armor Guyver, any merchandise involving it is made exclusively by Max Factory because of their long-standing relationship with the manga's author, Takaya Yoshiki Sensei, to ensure accuracy and quality. Max Factory's products related to Guyver will be displayed to the world by way of the Zoanoid data files, a special segment that plays after the end of each episode of the 1989 Guyver OVA that showcases the activated Guyver units, along with the Zoanoids involved in combat with them, and the technical specifications of their abilities, including the physiological data on their height and weight once bio-boosted. This is the primary reason why I wanted the figma Guyver 1 figures in the first place. Bio-Booster Armor Guyver was a big part of my childhood, and having these figures allows me to reconnect with my childhood memories. The topic of this video will be a compare and contrast between the figma Guyver 1 figures that have been released so far. Figma number 231 Guyver 1, released in 2014, and Figma number 600 Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition, released in 2024, as a celebration of the Figma line's 15th anniversary since the line's first year of production in 2008. The first time I saw Bio-Booster Armor Guyver was by watching both the original 1989 OVA and the live-action Guyver movie starring Mark Hamill and Guyver Bernard. As I make new videos like this, now that I think about it, I'm always making reference about Guyver Bernard because I look back on my memories with him fondly. As I watched the first live-action Guyver movie as an adult, I realized how hilariously bad it was. And watching its direct-to-video sequel, Guyver 2 Dark Hero, made me realize how much of a reach just one piece of manga or an anime can have to the rest of the world. Ranma 1/2, Tenchi Muyo, Bubblegum Crisis, Super Dimension Fortress Macross, and Bio-Booster Armor Guyver were my go-to anime series as a child. And it was Guyver Bernard who introduced them to me, and I can never thank him enough for it. As stated before, Figma number 231 Guyver 1 was released in December of 2014, and Figma number 600 Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition was released in 2024, 10 years after the original first release. These may be of the same character, but the two figures are vastly different from each other based on these aspects: engineering, sculpt, paint, articulation, and accessories. So, without further ado, let's get to the compare and contrast between Figma number 231 Guyver 1 from 2014 and the newer Figma number 600 Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition from 2024. For the Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition, a lot of the figure's design and engineering has been completely overhauled in comparison to the original 2014 release. The size of the figure itself was made bigger, and the body proportions were drastically altered to make it appear more anatomically correct to the average healthy human male body. On the other hand, number 231's body proportions are slimmer and smaller in comparison, especially in the midsection and the legs, making him look like a twig in comparison. Also keep in mind that the main protagonist of Bio-Booster Armor Guyver, Fukamachi Sho, is on the smaller side in comparison to his other male classmates and adult characters, and his bonding with the Guyver unit changes his physiology once bio-boosted, so changing the figure's size like this for the Ultimate Edition does make sense. The upper body of the Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition is more realistic in its anatomy, and is segmented into different sections to allow for more range of movement, while also not including any free-floating parts to keep the figure in one piece. On the other hand, the original 2014 release has more cartoonish upper body proportions, like an enormously large pectoral or upper chest section with a very slim midsection. There's a lot of sculpted detail for both figures though. For the Ultimate Edition, a lot of the sculpted detail is found in the head, and it overall looks as if it jumped out of the pages of the manga or out of the screen of the anime, while the sculpted detail for the 2014 release's head looks more basic in comparison. In addition, the eyes of the Ultimate Edition stand out more than its predecessor. The only common trait they possess is the sculpted detail of the biological tendrils that create the Under Armour mesh suit underneath the armor plates. Both figures boast superior sculpted details, but the body proportions and overall size are much different. The Ultimate Edition has more lifelike body proportions than the lengthy, disproportionately skinny 2014 release. The sculpts of number 231 are accentuated with panel lining and dry brushing in certain sections, while with the Ultimate Edition, a majority of the sculpted detail is left as is to allow natural light to highlight those details. Another key difference between the two figma Guyver figures is the engineering of their chest plates containing the Guyver 1's ultimate weapon, the Mega Smasher. The chest plate of number 231 sticks out like a sore thumb, and the panels become misaligned when closed, while number 600's chest plate fits snug and is more natural looking when closed since the Mega Smasher is already built into the upper chest. When comparing the engineering and sculpted details with each other, the edge goes to the Guyver I Ultimate Edition. For the painted details, the difference is night and day. The original 2014 release of figma Guyver 1 has a more muted teal color in comparison to the more turquoise found in the Ultimate Edition. Another major difference is that the 2014 release has a more matte textured finish to the exoskeleton armor plates. On the other hand, the Ultimate Edition's armor plates have a more polished sheen and finish. The colored details that remain consistent on both figures include the gravity control orbs on their waists, the sensor orbs on the side of their heads, the head laser orb, and of course, the control medal on their foreheads. The major difference in the colors would have to be in the close-up detail of the compound eyes. Both have the magenta color in their eyes, but it's more visible on the Ultimate Edition because number 231's eyes are much smaller and it can't catch the light as well as the Ultimate Edition's. Speaking of another big difference in the color gradients, the colors of the interior lens of the Mega Smasher for both figures are vastly different. Number 231 from 2014 has more of a silver interior finish inside of the Mega Smasher lens, while there is a bright mixed orange and yellow base with black flecks and silver energy emitters inside of the 2024 Ultimate Edition's Mega Smasher. As for color accuracy, the 2014 Guyver 1 is more coherent with the 1989 OVA. Now for articulation. The Figma line of action figures are known for their use of their proprietary revolver joints in the knees and elbows that utilize a singular joint that provides the same or similar range of movement of a double joint. Number 231 from 2014 is one of them, but the execution of the revolver joint is flawed at best. For number 231 from 2014, the head can look up and down, left and right, and tilt side to side with little to no difficulty. And the pauldrons on both shoulders are on separate sections and can move aside to allow for more range of movement in the arms. The legs can kind of do the splits because of the thigh plates being made of a softer material that allows for more range of movement. But this is where the major criticism of this figure comes into play. Without the inclusion of a butterfly joint in the shoulders, it cannot perform major action poses without looking too awkward or having to swap out any parts. Because of the sculpt of its arms, the elbow joint restricts any inner bend beyond 90 degrees. Even though the upper chest is separate from the midsection, the upper body as a whole cannot bend down properly as it is designed without a proper diaphragm joint. The midsection, as well as the codpiece, are free-floating parts that can come easily out of alignment when posing. The knees primarily use the revolver joint that is supposed to provide more range of movement. However, because of the sculpt of the legs, the knees can only bend a tiny bit past 90 degrees, maybe around 115 degrees at most, but no more. Now the biggest criticism of this figure is its ankles. The way the calves are sculpted for the 2014 Guyver I release restrict the range of movement for the ankles, making certain action poses almost impossible to pull off. In comparison, the figma Guyver I Ultimate Edition is far more superior than its 2014 predecessor. With the inclusion of a butterfly joint, the arms have more range of movement, and the inclusion of a diaphragm joint also allows Guyver I to bend down more easily. Because the thigh armor plates are made of a more rigid, solid plastic, the waist now has drop-down hip joints to allow for more range of movement. It cannot do the full splits, but it's a fair trade-off because Guyver I, in the anime or the manga, doesn't do gymnastics poses nor pull up full splits like Jean-Claude Van Damme. In addition, because of the design of its head, it can only look up and down to certain degrees, but it can still look left and right and tilt left and right. However, its advanced neck joint more than makes up for it. Plus, no free-floating parts. The biggest draw for the figma Guyver I Ultimate Edition is the use of double joints in its elbows and its knees, rather than the proprietary figma revolver joints that were used before. I was happy for it because even though I do like the figma figures, the revolver joints don't look as good aesthetically, in my eyes especially. Whenever I take a look at these figures that have this joint in their knees, especially my Link figures from The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword and Twilight Princess, Yu Narukami from Persona 4, and of course my 2014 Guyver I figure, it's like something is jutting out from behind their knees, especially when they're being viewed from the side. With the double joints, everything looks more natural and Guyver I has more range of movement. To conclude the debate on which is superior in articulation, again, I have to give the edge to the Guyver I Ultimate Edition. A majority of the accessories for the Guyver I 2014 release and the Guyver I Ultimate Edition are mostly the same. They include an accessory tree with 4 sets of interchangeable hands, a pair of knife hands for slashing and thrusting attacks, a pair of gripping hands for the Mega Smasher's chestplate panels, a pair of splayed hands for the pressure cannon pose, and finally, a pair of holding hands with apparently no objects for it to hold. A spare Figma ball joint for the Figma storage bag, default fists that are already on the figures themselves, a pair of the extended variants of the high-frequency swords, a replica of Unit G, and the standard Figma display stick. However, here's where the similarities end. The 2014 release comes with a separate chest piece that is one singular solid piece that doesn't open. What makes it unique is that it is designed to give the arms more range of movement to perform the pressure cannon pose, and it must be swapped out with the default chest plate to recreate the Mega Smasher pose. On the other hand, the Guyver I Ultimate Edition doesn't need to swap out any chest plate pieces, as butterfly joints are already built in to provide more range of movement to recreate the pressure cannon as well as the Mega Smasher without having to swap out any parts. The special parts that make it the Ultimate Edition is the interchangeable faceplate and special left hand to recreate the iconic illustration cover of Volume 5 of the Bio-Booster Armor Guyver manga. The image of Fukamachi Sho tearing off a damaged section of the Guyver's face mask, revealing his human facial features inside. When swapping out the short and long blades of the high-frequency swords for Guyver I Ultimate Edition, it utilizes an articulated Figma ball hinge joint to maintain a more secure connection between the high-frequency blades and the forearm. The blades still wiggle around a little bit in the forearm, but they don't fall out as easily. Number 231's method, on the other hand, of swapping out the high-frequency sword blades, utilizes a slotted male and female peg insertion system, but unfortunately, it doesn't function as well, since the high-frequency sword blades can fall off very easily when posing, and if dropped on the floor. Since number 231 is much smaller in comparison to the Ultimate Edition, the short retracted high-frequency blades can easily get lost in carpeted floors, and can easily bounce out of sight on hardwood and tile floors. Now both Figma figures came with additional bonus accessories when pre-ordered from the Good Smile Company's online web store as supplies lasted. Any early bird pre-orders for the Guyver I Ultimate Edition would get a limited edition large-size figma display base with the Bio-Booster Armor Guyver logo in Japanese kanji and katakana at the bottom. In 2014, the early bird pre-orders got a special D-stage display base with special effect background parts from the ground and concrete wall caved in from Guyver I's transformation. Unfortunately, I do not possess either of these since I bought the 2014 Guyver 1 years later, and I pre-ordered my figma Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition outside of the Good Smile Company's online web store, since the pre-orders there closed almost immediately. In regards to the accessories included with these figures, again, the Guyver 1 Ultimate Edition gains the advantage. Now, if you're planning on getting either one of these or both of these figures into your collection, then I can only wish you the best of luck, because these were only made available to select online retailers like Big Bad Toy Store, AmiAmi, Tokyo Otaku Mode, Hobbylink Japan, and the Good Smile Company's online web store, to say a few. However, as of this recording, these figures have long since been discontinued and they are no longer in circulation, making them highly sought after and coveted for any Guyver fan, casual or hardcore, to get their hands on. Now, the only way to get even one of these figures nowadays is through second-hand retailers on eBay or Mercari, who are willing to part with them for extra money. And let me warn you, aftermarket prices have skyrocketed from the original $34 and $89 MSRP due to these figures being produced in limited quantities, making them rare finds. So, if you're looking to get either one of these figures or both, be prepared to pay a hefty amount, between $200 $300 US for brand new, or around $150 to $250 US used a piece, especially if you are purchasing directly from Japan while residing in the United States, because as of this video and current geopolitical affairs with the United States in regards to global commerce, there will be a 15% tariff surcharge added to your overseas purchase. But if you are hell-bent on getting these figures into your collection and you have the disposable income to pay for it, then go for it. Who am I to stop you? But if you're married, your wife doesn't approve of it, but you go through with it anyway, I won't be held legally responsible for the thrashing, physical or verbal, your wife will give you, so consider yourself warned. I consider myself lucky to have been able to pre-order 2 of the Ultimate Edition figma Guyver 1 figures, since Guyver 1 Fukamachi Sho has always been my personal favorite. I bought 2 of them to support Max Factory to make more figures of Guyver characters like Guyver 2 Oswald A. Lisker, Guyver 3 Makishima Agito, and Guyver 2 Female Valkyria Forsberg Lisker in the same way, alongside some Zoanoids like Gregor, Ramuti, Vamor, Zerberwood, the Hyper Zoanoid Team 5 featuring Zektor, Optom, Gaster, Darzer, and Elegant, Enzyme, Enzyme Mark II, or even the Zoolords like Arkenfell, Murakami Masaki, now known as Imakara Mirabilis, Bergstall, and Guya. Now, the merchandise involving Guyver is very limited in number because many of Max Factory's products are limited edition goods, and Bio-Booster Armor Guyver isn't as popular in the mainstream sense, since it doesn't generate as much revenue as modern anime titles like Dragon Ball Z, One Piece, Naruto, and so on. So it kinda makes sense. But hopefully with this release, interest in the Guyver franchise will increase, and maybe who knows? Maybe Takaya Sensei will see how passionate the fans are to see the manga come to a successful and happy conclusion. I started my Guyver collection with only the DVDs of the 1989 OVA released by Manga Video, and the 2005 TV anime released by Funimation. Over time, I was able to get the 2014 figma Guyver 1, number 231, before my pre-orders came in during the summer of 2024. So I feel very thankful for adding these 2 figures of Guyver 1 Fukamachi Sho to my small but humble Guyver collection. If you're a big fan of Bio-Booster Armor Guyver, then these figures are a must-own and a wonderful addition to any action figure collection. Max Factory really hit it out of the park with this one, and this release has been, in a way, out of control. Till next time, Guyver! If you made it to the end of this video, congratulations! If you like this video and want to see more videos like this, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Every like and subscription means a lot, and it'll help the channel grow to new heights. With everything that's going on in the world today, we all need a little something that'll make us smile and think positively, instead of spreading hate and malice amongst each other. Also, if you have any suggestions or questions on what kind of videos you want me to post, please leave them in the comment section and keep it friendly. To close this video off, and as an added bonus, here's my little take on Guyver 1's Zoanoid data file using some of my toy photography. This has been Strike Freedom 78. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. As always, stay safe, stay kind, keep an open mind, and never stop learning, loving, growing, and caring. Peace out.
Top Secret Unit Bio-Booster Armor Guyver. Sho Fukamachi accidentally discovered the Guyver Unit 1 at the D-59 incident. This is the most current data regarding his abilities. He's equipped with high-frequency swords, protuberances from his forearms that generate a high-frequency wave vibration which disrupts the structure of wetted contact, then cuts it. The head beam, fired from the control metal on his forehead, is a high-quality infrared laser. The Mega Smasher is hidden under his chest plate and is the most intensely powerful hyperparticle beam ever recorded. Kronos Japan's Special Task Force designated to retrieve the Guyver have failed on 3 separate occasions. The location of the 3rd Unit G is still unknown. His height, 174 centimeters. Weight, 261 kilograms.